Now at 6, new details in an officer-involved shooting after a man fires into a restaurant. And
an effort is underway to preserve a long-lost mural found here at Camp Crowder after decades. I'm Samantha Walker, and I'll have that story coming up.
And an international Anne Frank exhibit arrives in Fort Scott, how the community can experience her powerful story.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Authorities have released the name of a man shot in an officer-involved shooting over the weekend. This is KOAM News at 6. I'm Dow Quick. The Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation identified the man as 25-year-old Michael Cook. Police say Cook fired into Mia Bella Italian restaurant from outside, trying to force his way in. Officers arrived quickly and confronted Cook, who opened fire and then ran, they say. Gunfire broke out again near a nearby Arby's. Cook was shot, taken into custody, and flown to a Tulsa hospital in critical condition. The OSBI says Cook is still hospitalized in Tulsa, receiving treatment. No officers were hurt. One person inside the restaurant had minor injuries from flying glass. Official charges will be determined by the Ottawa County District Attorney's Office. No word on the suspect's possible motive. Let's check in with meteorologist Lindsay Gaffney now for a first look at the weather.
Well, temperatures are starting to drop down from the mid 50s or 80s down to the 70s, and overnight low getting into the upper 60s. Now we do have a chance for some isolated storms to move into our area after midnight. So you can see we've got this low risk in our far western, northwestern counties. But as we head into Tuesday, we'll have a couple of rounds of potential severe weather that is leaving us with a level 2 out of 5 risk for severe weather. Now we're also under a flood watch. That is one of the threats that we could see tomorrow and over the rest of the week. So with this flood watch extends until Wednesday at noon, we could see that continuing a little bit further into the week. Now we're watching this line of storms as it continues to push into the area, most likely after about 11:30 to midnight. That's when we're going to see it getting close to our area. Mainly a wind threat, could get some hail. This continues until mid-morning around 8 a.m. before it all clears out to our east, and then we're waiting for the next round of severe weather after 2 p.m. But I'm going to have all those details coming up.
See you soon. Efforts are underway to save a piece of local military history. A long-lost mural has been unearthed in a building that was once part of Camp Crowder during World War II. KOAM Samantha Walker has more on how one organization is working to preserve the decades-old artwork.
Camp Crowder in Neosho, Missouri has a long military history surrounding World War II. According to the Army Historical Foundation, the first soldiers began to arrive less than 1 week before the Pearl Harbor attack. Camp Crowder was known for training soldiers before many were sent to serve overseas. Some of that history still exists.
The Army auctioned off the buildings as surplus that were at the base, and one of those buildings was sold to a family located outside of Neosho, and inside that building was a mural.
For 80 years, this mural has held on in a building used for agricultural work. According to the Arts Council, this sort of art isn't new to Camp Crowder.
In fact, we have multiple photographs of other murals that were painted at Camp Crowder, but did not survive the closing of the camp.
The Neosho Arts Council believes the mural was designed and painted by an unknown soldier who was training at the site before they were deployed. The organization says portions of the mural remain just a sketch, as the artist was likely called to action before they finished.
He had started painting in sections, but something made him stop and have to abandon this work mid-progress. And we want to make sure that our preservation treatment keeps those pencil marks on the panels as well as the paint.
Now an effort by the Neosho Arts Council is underway to raise funds so that lost mural that spent decades here at Camp Crowder can be preserved for years to come. The first step was to carefully remove the mural from the building with the help of expertly trained volunteers. Now they're hoping to raise $25,000 to continue preserving the work.
We will never find a World War II era mural like this again connected to our community, and we must preserve it, and we need the community support to do that.
The Neosho Arts Council is now asking for community support for the project. Donations would help cover repairs to the mural, paint restoration, and preservation treatment.
Our goal, of course, is to bring this mural back to Neosho for public display so that it can help tell the story of soldier artist as well as to tell the history of Camp Crowder in Neosho.
Reporting in Neosho, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
Wow, what a treasure. The Neosho Arts Council says any donation will help their efforts with this project. You can learn how to help on our website. You see it there, koamnewsnow.com. A powerful international traveling exhibit has come to Fort Scott, Kansas. The exhibit, Anne Frank, A History of Today, is at the Lowell Milken Center for Unsung Heroes this month. Through historical photos, powerful stories, and visuals of the actual Anne Frank house, visitors will be immersed in the life of the girl whose words and resilience have touched millions around the world.
Our hope for visitors and tourists in our local community as they learn about Anne Frank is to remember, because we must never forget. And these powerful stories from the Holocaust and World War II need to be remembered so that history does not repeat itself.
That exhibit opened today. It's going to be displayed through June 26th at the Lowell Milken Center for Unsung Heroes at 1 South Main Street in Fort Scott. The museum is open Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Admission is free and all are welcome. More than 160 golfers were on the green today in Joplin. The Children's Miracle Network held its annual Tournament of Miracle Golf Scramble. Money raised goes to help the CMN help local kids in need. Children's Miracle Network says they've surpassed their goal for the year, which was $100,000. A strong right-hander for the Outlaws wins some weekly recognition. John Dales has the details on the pitcher with Mid-America League honors coming up later in sports. But up first, Miami's American Legion Post builds a new museum to preserve military history, what visitors will experience. The American Legion Post in Miami, Oklahoma is turning pain into education with a new museum expansion. In September, we reported the Post had discovered the flags they had flown for 9/11 had been vandalized. As KOAM's Lonnie Walton reports, Legion members hope their new museum project will remind and educate young people that these soldiers might be gone, but their legacy is not.
None got cut, none was damaged, so we're thankful there.
Curtis Nida is the commander of American Legion Post 147 in Miami. He was broken when he found damaged flags he and his members set out in September. He believes this sort of vandalism would be less common of young people if they had greater understanding of the sacrifices our military members had over the generations. That's why he's excited for the expansion of a brand new museum he hopes to educate the next generation.
When these kids come in, and they're going, ooh, oh, you know, we didn't know this or we didn't know that. And just to see them light up and the questions they ask is amazing.
Chris Mays is the museum coordinator. He, along with NIDA, is trying to get to those youngsters.
I want to actually show them footage of something, say, like Pearl Harbor, because right now they're not being really informed on what some of this stuff that has happened in the past is.
Mays says this facility is going to cover 3,000 square feet and include history spanning from the Revolutionary War all the way to Afghanistan, and it's going to cover all area tribes.
Which will include a big segment of the code talkers that were from the area. We're going to have a large screen TV here.
NIDA wants to send one message to the world.
I know it's an old saying, freedom's not free. We paid for it.
Reporting in Miami, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
Post 147 says donations primarily fund that facility. They also say there are several ways you can donate, either in person or online. The museum is scheduled for completion in late July. A little bit later, kids kick off summer with hands-on crafting at the Pittsburgh Public Library, the free program getting teens off their screens.
And storm chances start to ramp up after midnight tonight. I'm going to have those details coming up. Well, today was a pretty nice day. Temperatures got to the mid-80s, but we're looking ahead to see some thunderstorms pushing into the area later this evening. Until then, we've got, again, mostly clear skies right now. A couple of clouds that are kind of moving into the Bartlesville, Coffeyville, Independence area. but we're watching as a line of storms drives in towards the Wichita area. You can see how we're having a little bit of a Boeing segment, a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings along that line. Now that's going to make it into our area after midnight tonight. Through the morning hours, mostly getting some clusters of isolated showers. Not a huge threat, but we could get some severe thunderstorm warnings. Now our slight risk for severe weather does come in later in the afternoon. So after 2 p.m. on Tuesday, you can see where it's heavier rainfall late Tuesday and into Wednesday morning. Now, taking a look outside downtown Joplin from the Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex, we've got clear skies right now. Gusty winds gusting up to 25-30 miles per hour ahead of the front that pushes in tonight. Temperatures are going to continue to drop down into the upper 60s, so a little bit cooler than we saw this morning. And then clouds are going to push in after 10 p.m. Like I said, we do have a slight risk for severe weather. This is mainly for tomorrow afternoon, although we still could get a severe thunderstorm warning or two after midnight tonight. But 2 p.m. to about midnight tomorrow is when we're going to expect the highest chance for severe weather, mainly a flooding risk and a flash flooding risk, especially north of I-44, which we'll look at in a moment. And then gusty winds, we're going to expect straight line wind gusts up to 60 to 70 miles per hour. Now, this is tonight, so 10:30. Here comes that line of storms making it into the Wichita area. It'll drive into our area about midnight, a little after midnight, 12 to 12:30, into southeastern Kansas. Now, following into Oklahoma as well, and then getting onto the Missouri side about 3 a.m. So this is a little bit of a slower moving system, all staying north of I-44 tonight into early tomorrow morning, but by 5 a.m. it's going to bleed down into south of I-44. Now we're getting clusters of thunderstorms continuing until about 8-9 a.m. We'll have a bit of a lull before our next round of severe storms. So this is 2 p.m. We're starting to see some isolated thunderstorms pushing into the area, but they quickly turn linear, which just means line of storms causing a straight line wind threat, some hail, and we could get spin up tornadoes due to winds moving in from the northeast, and then ahead of that front, winds moving in from the southwest. So as those winds meet, could get a few spin up tornadoes along that line. Now as it continues to push into the area right along I-44 by 6:30 p.m. and then moving southeast by about 8:30. Now you can see where we have a couple Boeing segments there. Those are going to continue to push out of our area by about 11 to 11:30. Now, like I said, we do have a chance to see some heavy rainfall amounts through Tuesday evening, especially northern counties, and then another round, all the rain that we're going to see through Sunday, also driving rain accumulation up to nearly 7 inches of rain. So we have a possible alert day on Tuesday, just due to the heavy amounts of rain. We could see the wind threat and hail threat, and then break on Wednesday, but more thunderstorm chances return by Thursday. So we've got a lot going on this week.
Yeah, a lot of water coming down, it seems, this week.
Yes.
Thanks. Still ahead, Joplin High School baseball hires a new head coach, and a member of the Joplin Outlaws is named Mid-America League Pitcher of the Week. John Dales has those stories and more for us coming up next in sports.
Stars and Stripes.
Summer collegiate baseball is in full swing here in the 4 states, and up in Nevada, the Griffins have won 2 of their first 3 games of the season, including last night's home opener. Tonight, the Griffins are back at Lions Stadium, playing host to the Clarinda A's, who are 1-0 so far. First pitch scheduled for the top of the hour. We'll bring you the highlights from this one later tonight at 9 on Fox 14 and 10 o'clock right here on KOAM. Over in the Mid-America League, the Joplin Outlaws are off tonight before playing a 3-game road set against the Sherman Shadowcats. But today, Joplin's starting pitcher and recent MSSU grad Cole Gaiman is named Mid-America League Pitcher of the Week, and he's been dominant in each of his first 2 starts this summer. Gaiman has not allowed a single run in just over 13 innings of work, while racking up 18 strikeouts and winning each of those starts. This weekend marked the end of the road for all of our local high school baseball teams. Now, to begin the week, several of our local athletes receive all-conference honors. We'll start with Webb City High School senior Andrew Young, who gets named the COC West Player of the Year. The Missouri Southern commit helped lead the Cardinals to a 4th consecutive district championship and an appearance in the Class 5 state quarterfinals. And Kyle Wolf is the Coach of the Year in the COC West. After announcing his intention to step down at the end of the season, Wolf helped lead the Eagles to a district championship and a Class 6 state quarterfinal berth. And Neosho Jr. Brody Crane is the COC West Pitcher of the Year. Here's a look at the first team all-conference. It includes Joplin's Brecken Green and Neosho's Alex Rodriguez as pitchers. Catchers Daniel Rose and Canton Smith, also from Joplin and Neosho respectively, along with Finn Versluis, another Neosho Wildcat, and Carthage sophomore Landon West. His teammate Blaine Lillienkamp is also on the first team all-conference as a utility player. The all-conference teams are released today for the Big 8 as well. Your co-players of the year are Nevada senior Caden Klump and Aurora sophomore Sean Cracy. Mount Vernon's Kyler Schaff is named Big 8 Coach of the Year. Here's the rest of the first team all-conference, excluding those two players of the year. It features Seneca's Jagger Wilson, Mount Vernon's Braden Dodson as pitchers, Nevada catcher Kellen Braden. Outfielders are Aiden Clapper, Memphis Mooneyham, and Drew Sherwood. Lamar's Eli Hull is the first team designated hitter. And infielders Braden Van Loo, Miles Young, and Hagen Ginger. Now for the second and third teams, check out our website, koamnewsnow.com/sports. And I mentioned a moment ago that Joplin baseball head coach Kyle Wolf was stepping down at the end of the season. JHS announces today that Chase Kilgore will take his place. He's the head baseball coach at Lamar. And in a press release, Kilgore says he wants to continue to make the entire city of Joplin proud of the Eagle baseball program. Closing things out with Major League Baseball, the future is officially here for the Kansas City Royals. Late last night, the team announces that their #1 prospect, Jack Caglione, is being called up from AAA Omaha to their Major League club. It was just 3 weeks ago that the 22-year-old was playing for their AA affiliate, the Northwest Arkansas Naturals, down in our neck of the woods. His first shot at big league action comes against the Cardinals. That's tomorrow evening in St. Louis. That's it for sports. We'll be right back.
State Hero.
Here's a look at what's coming up on KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 tonight. The Joplin City Council weighs in on an expansion to deer hunting within the city. We'll have details. Plus, we're going to take a look at how all this rain has impacted farmers in the region for better and for worse, and how mail delays continue to impact rural Missourians. Those stories, a lot more, of course, it's coming up tonight. KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. Kids and teens spent the afternoon getting creative at the Pittsburgh Public Library today. Maker Monday is part of a free weekly program designed for people ages 10 to 18, giving young people a chance to get off their screens and into some hands-on crafting. This week they made bracelets, but each Monday features something different. The library provides all the supplies and no registration was needed.
I think it's a good way to maybe get them out of the house for a little bit, interact with, they may be friends from school or they might see some from another school. It also gets them in here and they can check out books to win prizes, which we do with the summer reading. And then while they're in here, they're like, oh, activity to do. And so they come in and join us.
All kinds of benefits. Maker Mondays will continue through July 21st from 2 to 3 p.m. in the library's meeting room. A lot of rain ahead of us this week, it appears.
Yes, we've got rain chances, we've got thunderstorm chances, even a potential severe threat Tuesday. Some storms coming in after midnight tonight till about 8 a.m. Another round after 2 tomorrow.
See you at 10. Let's make it a great evening.